Everybody wants to talk about fintech, about 14 million results in Google when you search fintech. There are plethora of courses, some of which are questionable because most of them sound like an encyclopedia because everything is about just introduction to everything in a fintech course. And finding a lot of friends of yours who might be talking about Bitcoin the whole day makes you think that probably fintech is real. And maybe it is, or maybe it is not. But that's what one of and we're going to subdivide this entire discussion into very simple three parts. First is understanding what is fintech. I mean, you can't really understand a career in fintech unless you understand how did fintech actually come, so that you understand the value chain and understand where exactly do you fit in. Third, trying to find out what's the deal with finding jobs in fintech and whether there is any course which actually can prepare you for fintech or probably there is not. And we're going to do this as unbiased as possible because I don't sell fintech courses and I don't intend to sell fintech courses. And we believe in teaching boring stuffs to students so that they get the boring finance jobs which exist. 2008 crisis when the entire housing market of US and also a lot of banks, including banks in India, went through some pretty deep crap, pretty deep shit. And after that, these banks were forced to, various regulatory authorities of different countries were forcing rules after rules and regulations after regulations, penalties after penalties to these banks, which made them deviate from their core objective of banking and bringing innovation to banking. And at that moment, this wave of fintech companies did come. Right? You need to understand finally that fintech just does not mean Bitcoin currency, or I mean, it does include cryptocurrency because it includes blockchain technology, but that's it. But you need to understand that most of the fintech companies that we talk about and where the buzz is in the value chain of banking, because banking is one sector which globally did not innovate since 2008. And so if you look at the value chain, you will see that there are basically four sections of a banking system, right? One is the customer interface. Second is infrastructure. Third is back and middle office. And fourth are balance sheet activity. And I am going to be discussing this, each one of them in detail, so don't worry. But do understand that these are the four structure or the four areas where a bank used to operate. Remember going to the bank probably about 6 to 7 years back, the experience was not really pleasing, right? And that's where that created a problem, and that's where new businesses came with solutions, and that's how fintech actually came. Some of the solutions, for example, would be something like non-traditional loans. Probably in a traditional banking system, you might have issues getting a loan at the first place because of some credit score issues. So NBFCs came. Person was not getting investment for their projects or for their company. Crowdfunding came. Opening a bank account was way more difficult before, and then digital banking came. Investments in mutual funds became far easier, where you could invest in multiple mutual funds through one single app. One of the biggest changes which happened in bank transfer was UPI transfer, right? I mean, you don't even need someone else's bank account number to transfer the money, and it could just happen on the basis of a UPI. Basically, problems that you were facing in traditional banking, which were provided by some other providers in between. Interface means something like ATMs. So initially, banks were the only ones who were the gatekeepers for these infrastructures. Also, online banking, net banking was only a facility which only a bank could provide. Let's talk about back and middle office. Now, what do I mean by that? So once your basic infrastructure is there in front for the customers to use, you also need risk management, you need credit decisions, whom to give loan, whom not to give, reconciliation of the entire system of accounts. And all these activities were a pretty costly affair. And since 2008, probably if the banking system had got the time to focus on innovation, probably they would have come up with a solution. But the problem that happened was, since they were forced onto regulation, and focus shifted from innovation to actually following the regulation, right? And that's where the opportunity arose for the new players. I talk about infrastructure further, then facilities like cross-border transaction, payment systems, and credit information. All these assets were possible to use only through a traditional banking system. Deployment of customer deposits. That's where I think the NBFC system really changed it, because regular banks finally have to take deposits. So they're basically taking deposits in the form of a savings account, whereas NBFC is not really taking deposits. So they getting the funding through bonds, and finally they are giving out the loan at a higher rate, right? Hence, the regulations really don't apply to NBFCs. So that was also one of the gaps which were there in the industry, which was explored big time by NBFCs. Now, if I look at various areas of the value chain, and you'll see how solutions have come in, right? And in terms of adoption, you might be surprised that India and China actually are leading the way in terms of fintech adoption, right? Way ahead of US, and in fact, 52% is basically the adoption rate at India, which is, I think, tremendous in terms of the fact that these are just one of the areas where we lead. Also, the number of fintech startups which have come up in India is tremendous because your adoption rates are higher. There was a big opportunity for giving domestic solutions, right? For example, Paytm would be one of the examples of fintech solution which came up all through India, and there are plenty of other applications or fintech products which have come up. Specifically in lending, there has been plethora of fintech companies which have come up and are doing pretty well. However, what we need to understand is, are we saying that fintech is a new role, which is what people generally think, that fintech is some fancy role that I get into, or is it just an industry that is booming, right? Any fintech company has similar kinds of jobs, right? Jobs which are on the basic functions: HR, marketing, IT, and sales, right? And finance. So the decision of entering into fintech is not about whether I need to learn fintech. The decision is about whether I want to enter fintech. So the good part about fintech is that there are a lot of job opportunities which have come up, so which can give you a lot of finance, IT, sales, marketing jobs, right? But do these functions work any different from any other business? Probably not. It's like asking a question stating that treasury manager, what is skill sets required to work in probably a marketing company versus let's say a finance company change? Probably not. Recruiting, so will your recruiting skills change for whether you join a fintech company or a basic IT company? Probably not. Will your selling skills be different for whether you join a marketing company or whether you join an IT company? Probably not. So it's got regular departments and it's got regular requirements. The only question is whether you want to enter this industry, because this industry, at the same time providing lots of opportunities, also has tremendous risks, because there's a high failure rate in startups on fintech, because there's so many solutions to provide and explore, and you can see that banks are just catching up with these fintech companies. So it gives businesses a lot of opportunities to provide new solutions, right? But the challenge is that not all of these businesses are going to be successful. But for an employee, like for a person who is just doing a job, it won't really matter, because the experience is what finally counts. However, there is one job which I feel, and which has been prominent across any fintech companies, which will boom and which will always be there until the time this fintech wave actually settles down, and the industry finally settles on a mature state, because a lot of fintech's jobs will finally go off after the initial run that we have seen, right? So since you want to provide lots of solutions to customers, because none of the fintech companies, if you see this chart, have stuck to the initial idea. So that means there will be dearth of people who will be managing these products. So it's like starting a technology company and then just coming up with ideas after idea. Now that's the role that majorly will be in demand, because any of these companies which start will lack talent for people to manage these new products that they start, right? And that's what is called as innovation, and that's where the jobs will be. The proper role which will encompass finding these ideas will finally be a product manager. So product manager jobs definitely are on a high in fintech, but there is no set course to do for becoming a product manager, because product manager is like a jack of all trade, who has to know marketing, he has to know technology, he has to know sales, he has to know communication. So and at the forefront also maybe know a little bit of finance, at the same time try to find out and exploit solutions. So even if you are from an IT background, with that IT background and a little bit of business acumen, you could still, and if you can probably scan through some opportunities in fintech, and dig a little deeper and so maybe just figure out a value chain where you fit in. So either you are in the customer interface section, or you are in the infrastructure side, or are you in the middle or back office side, wherever. If you create a depth out there on the understanding of this value chain, and if you can come up with ideas, then that much of information is enough for you to give the interview and get a job, whether as an IT professional or whether as a product manager. Any job in fintech, because you can try to find out small startups who are working in fintech, and you can start getting a job even in sales, IT, or marketing. And from there, if you could generate interest in products, product management, read some books on product management, and that should give you the opportunity for becoming a product manager for a specific product in that fintech company. And that's it. So I don't think so there's any requirement to actually do a course in fintech. No offense, but if you just look at the syllabus, it's just introduction about everything. Now think of it and try to ask yourself, are any of these fintech jobs asking you to do a fintech course? Probably not. So the right thing to do is to, why not start applying in any of these companies with whatever knowledge you have, and see what they actually require, and then do a relevant course which might not be a fintech course. So that was a very unbiased opinion on fintech and where it's headed, and whether this is a good career option or not. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if you have any other comments, questions, or any suggestions that you want me to incorporate in the next video. And please do subscribe. Every week we come up with a new video, and also on Wednesdays we teach some boring stuff, something known as financial modeling and investment banking. So do attend and join and subscribe our channel. Bye bye.